All right, folks. So today this is Unit 3, Lesson 10. And what we're going to be talking about here is the informal proof of the angle-angle criteria for similarity. What that means is I'm actually going to show you that if you can show or prove that you've got two pairs of corresponding angles congruent in a pair of triangles, then that's enough to prove that they're similar. So to do that, I'm going to do a quick demonstration on GeoGebra here. This is going to be real. Look at what we have here. What we have here is triangle ABC being dilated by some scale factor. It doesn't even matter what it is. It's being dilated by some scale factor from the center D. Now, because we know stuff about dilations, we happen to know that my corresponding angles are congruent. Remember, corresponding means like A and A prime, B and B prime, etc. So what I want to show you here is I want to show you that if I take the center D and I move it so that it's directly on top of A, what that does is that lines up my triangles. And now you will notice that I've got angles here. The angles at A and A prime are exactly the same because they overlap. And then I also have corresponding angles congruent, B and B prime. So what that tells us is that BC and B prime C prime are parallel to each other. And we learned in lesson 4 that if those are parallel to each other, then that means that these sides are all proportional, which means that these triangles are similar to each other. So this is the proof that if you have just two pairs of angles congruent to each other, corresponding angles, that the triangles are actually similar. We don't need the third angle because we know that since the angles of a triangle add up to 180 degrees, we know that if A is congruent to A prime and B is congruent to B prime, then C has to be congruent to C prime. So the third angle is not necessary. So what does that tell us? That tells us that if two triangles have two pairs of corresponding angles that are congruent, then those triangles are similar. So like in this example right here, A is congruent to Y. I know that because it's two of these little markings. These little markings mean that angles are congruent, and there's two of them on this one, so that I know that the 2 goes with the 2 and the 1 goes with the 1. So what I know here is that angle A is congruent to angle Y, and angle B is congruent to angle Z. Therefore, these two triangles are similar to each other. And I'm going to write that down as a similarity statement. And I have to make sure that I line up my letters. So I'm going to do angle ABC is similar to triangle. A goes with Y, B goes with Z, and so that means that C goes with X. So I had to write it down so that it matches the angles, so that the angles actually match each other in the names. And so that's that. That's how you prove that two triangles are similar by angle-angle.